Good morning. Guess what? I have a very special guest. He knows so much about the history of the mountains. He knows about the history of Georgia marble. He knows about the future of North Georgia being a member of the Republican Party of Pickens County.
Yes, ma'am.
For how many years? Since the day you were smacked on the butt by your mama?
Well, yeah. Well, my family's lineage goes back to the founding of the party, back before Lincoln was president. And I've got proof that, my great-grandfather and then my great-great-grandfather were staunch Republicans going back to, I think it was the RNC, or the Republican Party, was created in 1857, 6, 7, something like that. They were Republicans going back then.
Wow. That's crazy, because I came from a long line of Dawson County Democrats. But I'll tell you, I had a little talk with my granny a while back, about 55 years ago. And I said, Granny, we need to think differently. And we need to do this, and we need to do this. And I said, Mama is vice president of the Republican Party in Orlando. I think that Mama's got a good plan going on. So I think we need to follow Mama's steps. And then I married the Martin family. And Homer Martin, I don't know if you know this, but Homer Martin, you are a Republican, you are a conservative, you are a Christian, and at 7 a.m. on Election Day, he calls and says, it's time to come and vote. Yes, sir, we'll be there. Conservative Christian family. Now, my family, the Democrats, were Democrats when Democrats were very different than they are today. Southern Democrats. And my grandparents were very poor. They were tenant farmers. My granddaddy made whiskey for a living until he became a deputy sheriff, and then he quit making whiskey. But it's very different today, the world we're looking at. And we've seen that since 1 week ago today, almost, 3 hours from now?
Yeah.
A very, very, very amazing, special, talented, God-loving, Bible-thumping, amazing man got to meet Jesus. Did you hear what I said the other day on the show? Because I thought about this as I was driving up Monday morning. All I thought about is Charlie Kirk. And I said, as a Christian, we live to die. We live our life facing every kind of tragedy, trauma, good, bad, and ugly, knowing that at the end, we have this great experience with Jesus.
That's right.
And so we live to die. And I think that's almost, I've known it all my life, but I never thought about it. But we live to die because we have the promise of a life ever after.
Because we've got something to die
forever. With. That's right. And you think about, I don't think I know any atheists right now. I know some people who don't believe in God, but I don't know that makes them an atheist. I think they're confused. I don't know. I don't understand it. Could you get through the day without God?
No.
No way. No way. No way.
I mean, just knowing that you have something to die with. I mean, granted, the flesh doesn't want to die. God wired us with survival instincts, fight or flight. And we all dread the sting of death. But, when I know that just shortly before my mother passed away 11 years ago, she just said, I'm so ready to go home.
Yep.
And just a few minutes later, she took her last breath.
That's right. And boy, you talk about a lady who was ready, and Jesus was ready to meet her because she was a good one. She was so precious. So precious. We look at the foundation that we have, and I can remember as a kid being afraid of death.
Oh, yeah.
I can remember the first funeral I went to at Mount Vernon Baptist Church in Dawson County. I was like 8 or 9 years old, and casket was up front in the church, and Granny said, let's go sit up front. And I said, oh, no, I don't want to go near that. I was afraid of death. And then the more I think the older we get, maybe the smarter we get, we understand that is what we are living for, is that day that we will leave this tragedy and trauma and all the craziness behind. And Charlie Kirk, he wasn't planning to leave this world. He wasn't planning. Have you seen the picture of he in the forefront and his children behind? Okay. to me, that's the most effective picture that's been done out of everything that happened in the last week. His children, the 1-year-old, do you think will ever remember him?
She may remember, snippets of him, but as far as knowing who Dad was, fortunately with technology being the way it is, she can go back and look at clips and see, wow, my dad he really stood for this, he really stood for that. But he never belittled anyone. Again, even though Charlie Kirk he was old enough to be my son, because my daughter is just a year younger than him. I really looked up to him and admired him because, I'm always in conflict with myself, trying to bridle my tongue and my temper, and I've got, I guess, between my lineage being Scott, German, and a little bit of Cherokee in there, that's a combination that just
that's lethal.
My temper gets away from me, my tongue gets away from me, and to think that here a man was wise and mature beyond his years.
Oh yeah.
That he never.
He was a genius.
Anyone.
I truly believe that he was a genius because he never scripted anything. He remembered. Holy cow! Are you kidding?
Remembered who wrote each Bible or book of the Bible. In what time frame, the context of the meaning, the scripture. It's like, and then reading all the famous economists from Milton Friedman to Hayek and what have you. Knowing all this, it's like, how do you keep that much information up here?
I don't know.
It's just...
it's funny because you say keep information. I can remember my grandmother's phone number, 692-5439, but don't ask me anything else from 55 years ago. It's weird. And I had some kids on yesterday that have never faced any trauma in their lives until the death of Charlie Kirk. And I thought about that. I was there for King's assassination, Robert Kennedy, John Kennedy, and then Charlie Kirk. And I'm like, it's so strange to me. I was there as the president was shot at. I was there. What else? What else have we faced tragedy and trauma? We've had some stuff thrown at us. And it makes us look at life differently because I attended Martin Luther King's funeral, and I have a book out in the car that he wrote and that he autographed. And I was thinking about if Martin Luther King were available to be here with us today, he would say, I'm a Republican. He would be straightening out the mess that's been left.
Well, it probably wouldn't have gone in the direction it's gone in the last, since the Great Society.
Right.
Because Charlie Kirk...
He was a good man.
Charlie Kirk, and he's the first public figure to be assassinated in my lifetime because Bobby Kennedy and them, I'll take that back. I was just a baby when Martin Luther King was shot. And I don't think I was born yet when Bobby Kennedy was shot. So
I was in the 7th grade. 8th grade, yeah.
Yeah, but I think I was just real young when MLK was assassinated. But and then the only ones that I remember up until now was I remember an attempt where Gerald Ford was shot at.
Yes, and Reagan.
Ronald Reagan was shot at. That I remember.
Yeah.
And then Donald Trump last year twice was attempted to assassinate him, and now Charlie Kirk is the one that I can remember in my lifetime being assassinated for asking questions.
And giving people an opportunity to answer the questions, because he would sit and listen to what people were asking, and that I was so fascinated. I would turn it on and watch it again and say, how does he hold his temper? How does he react to that? How does he allow them to talk to him like they do? And honestly, when you see some of the people that were talking to him like they were, you feel sorry for that person because you feel like they haven't had the foundation that you and I have had. And I think a lot of this comes from they didn't have the foundation they needed.
That's right. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And Charlie took the attitude, because you can go back and pull up many clips where, he said, let's have a conversation, and can we at least find some common ground? And maybe I'm hoping to learn something.
Right.
So if you take that attitude, which, again, I guess the way I'm wired and whatever, I always want to win, but you know it gives you something to think about. Is that well, let's find some common ground. Maybe I can learn something, and who knows? Maybe you can learn something too. I mean that right there is wisdom beyond his 31 years and maturity.
Yeah. Well, we have some numbers that we want to throw out, and this is just as doing what I do for a living. People come to me and they say, tell me a little bit about the community. Tell me a little bit about this. And so, you know, I say, well, we have parks and we have this and we have this and we have this. And, you know, I can't say we have a certain amount of people there. But today, with this hat on, I can say that we have looked. And in Cherokee County, we are 70% voting Republican. And as somebody who's been there a while, I believe that it's because people are looking for the safe, the quiet, the peaceful, the conservative lifestyle that we have. 70%. Well, let me tell you, we need to hold our own, and we can't let it slip away. Pickens County, do you have a clue how much? I think Pickens used to be at least 68.
It's about the last couple of elections. It fluctuates. I guess it depends on who the voter turnout. But I think in the last election it was around 70. President Trump received somewhere around 70, either 74 or 76% of the vote.
Okay.
And being involved in the community in Pickens County, I've met a lot of people the last few years that has moved here to kind of go along with what you're talking about.
Right.
Keeping this trend going in
They want
Cherokee
safe,
County.
and they just want a safe lifestyle. They want a conservative lifestyle.
Right.
They grew up conservative. And the thing that I've noticed is 98% of the people I'm seeing move to our community move from 30 miles away. Forsyth County, Milton, Woodstock, Town Lake, I think one Kennesaw. They've moved from 30 miles away because they said 30 miles away, the blue wave is coming. And that was scaring them. And I said, well, what does that mean? And they said, well, Cobb County has changed and Cobb County is now going blue. And I thought, well, that's strange because Marietta was always a very conservative town with Southern Belles sitting on the porch having tea parties and everybody going to Sunday school. And, you know, that's what it was.
Well, it's definitely purple. And I've done the same thing. Like I say, people that's moved into Pickens County, I ask them where they're from, and they're from all over the country. Up in the Northeast, the northern Midwest, Michigan, Illinois, out west, California, Oregon, wherever.
In Pickens County?
Yes.
Wow, that's shocking.
And a lot of them are retirees or people that are working remote that's close to retirement. But I asked them, I said, well, why did you pick this area? Oh, we like the mountains. It's a nice, quiet town. The people are so friendly, you know, blah, 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 blah. Same thing you're saying, you know, quality of life, low taxes. And I said, okay. I said, well, you know, just remember why you moved here.
Right.
When
And
you
let's
go to the
maintain
voting
that.
polls. Because if here was like where you left, then why would you be moving here?
Right.
That's, trust me, that's the reason California and Illinois has gotten too crazy. I had to get away from that.
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And I haven't run into that because I've literally, and people said, I bet you're selling everything to people in California. People, no, truly, a 30-mile radius.
Well, that,
And Forsyth County is the one that amazed me because you and I and Bay have gone to Forsyth County Republican meetings. Huge presence. Huge presence in Forsyth County. I would say Forsyth County is more Republican than anywhere. It was strong. It was strong, yeah. And I met this wonderful couple from Big Canoe, or as I say, Big To Do, the other day, and they are totally, they were so sweet. They had on their red, white, and blue, their flag shirts the day after Charlie was killed. And they said, we feel like we have to stand up for our country. That young man lost his life standing up for our country. We feel like we have to do this. They're in their 80s. And they are so involved in the Republican Party and actually in Pickens County because they live on the Pickens County side. And I love that. And the more I talked to them, the more I enjoyed hearing why they are the way they are. And they've always been that way, you know?
Well, I mean, you know, if let's look at facts here. If and some of this is opinion, but I think it wouldn't be hard to prove, if America was like what the extreme left, I'm not talking about not
Like my grandmother, the Democrat.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
The average Democrat, which there's not many of those left, fortunately, or unfortunately.
Right.
But I'm talking about the extreme left. If America was the America you wanted in World War II, we wouldn't be sitting right here having this conversation
exactly.
in front of a live audience. We would be eating sauerkraut and drinking sake and rice and eating rice. And again, 250 years ago, we'd still be bowing to a man versus the main man upstairs.
That's right. That's right.
You know, again,
we were founded on Christian principles.
Exact Judeo-Christian principles.
And we are getting away from that.
That's
and
right.
If we allow that, and I think that's what I love, we're going to show some photos today of events that have happened in our community. And these events happen to, this is me eating cornbread and buttermilk out of my presidential glass. I love that. That is me eating cornbread and buttermilk out of my presidential glass.
That is
and
awesome.
I love it. Is that not the coolest thing
That
ever?
is.
Bring a little South to your mouth and bring the president with it. So, and this is my buddy. I found this last night. I had gotten David a hat, and I got him Trump socks and shirt and whatever. And we want to say good morning to David and Jenny Byers. They have been a little bit under the weather, and what a cool couple. They have been married forever and ever and ever, and they live they have two beautiful historical homes near the Wheeler house. Just my favorite people, So good morning to them. And do you recognize that lady there?
I think I recognize all three of those
Yeah,
ladies there.
what about that? Those are some wild and conservative women, and your wife would have been here today, but she had bigger and better fish to fry, so yeah. But Melinda is one of our buddies on the team Trump Force 47. And, you know, it happened. It happened, and America spoke, and we have what we have. And I love that. And, you know, your wife was honored to be able to sing the national anthem at huge events. And the cold chills in the crowd, and the ability to do what she did and to look around and see tears in people's eyes as we join together. And that's what America should be. We're joining together. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now this was a big controversial thing, and I got really, really upset with people because this building, this beautiful historical building, is being restored. There was a terrible fire there, and all the gossipers had their ideas of how it happened. Well, the fire marshal said how it happened, and it was because somebody was using a torch in there. And it wasn't the new owner, it was the previous owner's grandson, which was pretty sad. But it is being restored, and I'm so excited because they're going to save it. Now we were welcoming Captain Worley home last night. It was so exciting to see people standing on the bridge. We had that 5x8 flag. Oh, wow. And just welcoming him home. He was shot on Friday night. His shot was right here, and it could have been just like Charlie Kirk. It could have had the same results, but thank God. And prayers are answered because this community has been praying and praying and praying, and they're holding that 5x8 flag there on the interstate as they're about to approach. And people gathered at his home, they gathered at his community, they gathered all the way up and down the road. We have the right in America to assemble in peace. And we love doing that, and it was so sweet, and so many people were so excited. You know, he was critical Friday night. He came home yesterday.
That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing? And to Erlanger and to Fannin, they had to get a helicopter and get him out of there. It was amazing and his mom and dad, Diane and Ronnie, precious, precious, precious people. But you know the cool thing about them? They are 100% God-believing prayer warriors.
I believe I read, isn't he a minister?
Ronnie?
Yeah.
About that?
I may
Okay, I don't know. They go to Hopewell Church.
Okay.
And John Weaver is one of their church associates. And just everybody was so excited. But they had a police escort from the hospital in Chattanooga down through McKaysville, down through Blue Ridge, down through Ellijay, down through Pickens County, and then we greet him in Ball Ground. And it was just so really, really sweet to see people there. Our police force was there, and it was just saying, welcome home. He's an EMT and a captain in the police. So he's like one of those double dipping, double hard working guys. And he's a good kid from great family, and we are so thankful that he is good. He is good. Everything was good. So it was a great day in Ball Ground to say, welcome home, Captain Worley, welcome home. And I know your mom and daddy are tickled to death, and wife and kids. And we've got a photo of him hugging a little boy sitting there. And I'm just thinking, you know, Charlie Kirk will never get to hug his children again. And this shot, I can't remember what kind of gun they shot Captain Worley with, but you know, it was same side of the head, everything. It could have been very, very different, but God's protection. Now, this is the beautiful building downtown Ball Ground that is being restored, and thank goodness the beautiful marble on the back of this, and you loving Georgia marble, the marble on the back of this is going to be done. This area is going to be a beautiful park. It's going to have some beautiful new homes in it with an area for people to gather and to sit and to enjoy your food, and just I'm so excited, and I can't wait for people to see it. And I hope that all the whining, moaning, complaining people who had their mind made up how this happened, there was no insurance on the building. The developer had already done a bunch of work to it, and the night it burned, it was horrible. But thank goodness they have been able to save the main structure. They lost the second floor. They lost all the wood floors that he had just put in, but thank goodness they are able to start over. So, and it is preserving the past as we embrace the future, and that's what Ball Ground is about. We are trying to preserve the past. Now, this was last night. Is that not beautiful?
Oh, it is.
That's like God just sends you this amazing painting, and you just, okay, I think I'll just take that picture and frame it, and it's absolutely beautiful. And for people who don't believe in God, you see that, and you don't believe in God? Do you understand that?
No, I don't see how. You know, you just go. You know, go to the beach and watch a sunset.
Oh yeah.
It's just.
Yeah. Well, once in my lifetime, my mother left the church, and it was hard because we lived somewhere that I walked to church all the time. Isn't that gorgeous? That was last night. Yeah, beautiful. But Mama said, why do so many bad things happen, and why does how is God real? And I said, Mama, you know He's real. And it took her a few years to come back, but she did. Now this is as Captain Worley arrived home last night. So sweet, so special. And the community came out, and people of all sizes, ages, everybody gathered together peacefully. And I think that was the coolest thing. Yeah. And then last night, there's also some photos we're going to show you of a Charlie Kirk vigil and a rally last night in Cherokee County. Now, there you go. Is that not precious?
I mean, just think, less than a week ago, he was in critical condition.
Yeah. And there's that little boy hugging his daddy and hugging and hugging and hugging. But, yeah, he got a hero's welcome as he came home, as he should have.
Absolutely.
And the man who shot him is in jail with no bond, as it should be, because if you try to take a police officer's life, and you know, I think it was over something really stupid, just whatever he was facing, he could have just faced and you know, danced to the music and been done. And instead, he took a shot at a police officer. Now, this is last night. This is the vigil in Cherokee County, and it was amazing to see all these people. Look at this.
That is awesome.
I hope we get that many in Pickens County Saturday night. That would be so great. Or Friday night. Friday night. Oh,
Friday night, 8 o'clock. Friday night, 6 to 8 at
6 to 8 Friday night. I got to correct me because, I need to change that. But if we could gather together that many people and just in solidarity, I mean, that's what it was about.
Yep.
There was prayer, and there were tears, and there were kids, and there were adults, and there were just people just, you know, thanking the Lord for the time that Charlie was here for us. Right. And this is as they came through McKaysville. And I don't know who was videoing that, but they got a little concrete, didn't they? It wasn't me. But that was just so cool to see people stopping and taking time out of their day to say, welcome home, Captain, welcome home. So that is pretty cool.
That is great.
That is pretty cool. And honestly, when the call went out Friday night, it was so bad, and it was just so scary. And his mom and dad, live down. I think they have a ball ground address because they're right on the border there. Uh-huh. But such good people, good people. And the prayers went out, and that's what it was about. Everybody was praying. So now the prayer vigil that's going to happen in Pickens County is going to be in front of the courthouse near the flag. Is that how it's planned? Okay. Well, I hope that space won't hold everybody.
I hope they have to close off Main Street like they do for Jeep Fest.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. So if you live near Pickens County, if you're coming through Pickens County Friday night, and it's Friday night, not Saturday, Friday night from 6 to 8, come and join and let's just pray for our nation.
That's right.
We have the ability to change things, but we can't do it with violence. We can't do it with screaming at each other. How do you feel about people losing their jobs because of the things that have been said?
Well, you know what? You have the right to say what you want to say, good or bad.
And you have the right to accept the consequences.
But then there's always consequences. Whether you do something good, there's chances are there's going to be consequences for that, just like something bad.
Right.
So, hey, I hate to say eye for an eye, but for the last 10 years, they've been doing it to us. People lost their jobs during COVID because they wouldn't get the shot. They, speaking their mind at work, defending what was right and historically what was right and wrong. They lost their jobs because it may have hurt somebody's feelings. Well, I really don't care about your feelings. Now, I'm not going to go out and intentionally do something to try to offend you. But if I speak the truth and it hurts your feelings, that's not my problem. I really don't care.
Yep.
So, I really don't care about your feelings. What I care about is doing what is right and what is good. And if we can have a conversation, okay, great. And if you get offended by our conversation, I'm not going to try to make it personal. But, if you don't like what I have to say, there's nothing I can do about that. I'm not going to give up who I am just to make you feel better.
And that kind of happened to me because somebody said, I can't believe you're doing so-and-so. And I said, you can't. But I've always been a conservative. I've always voted this way. I've always been a Christian. I'm not going to change my vote because somebody's nice.
Right.
I can't do that.
Right.
I can't do that. And I would have voted for John Kennedy. I would have voted for John Kennedy. He's dead because he was fighting the system.
Right.
He's dead because he believed in better for America.
That's right.
I would have voted for John Kennedy. And had Martin Luther King not been killed, I think Martin Luther King would have been whooping butt and taking names because he would be so sick of what is going on in America today. He would tell his people, my people, your people, everybody's people, get it together, people.
And I think that's one of the reasons why Charlie was murdered was because, yes, they despised what he was saying because they couldn't debate him. They had nothing to debate with.
Right.
You can't debate on emotions. I think the bigger picture is, if you step back a little bit, was that they feared that he would be president one day. And
I was living for the day he would be president.
I think most people were waiting for another 15 to 20 years when that day would happen.
Right.
But, they feared his, from a 30,000-foot elevation, they feared Charlie Kirk. Because just look at what's happened since he was murdered, gunned down a week ago. There's been over 32,000, I believe, last I heard, 32,000 applications for Turning Point USA.
Right. And Fannin County, Georgia has one. I'm so excited about that.
Yes.
That is so exciting. It is so exciting. And I think that is the key because the organization, his funeral is going to be held in a facility that holds 60,000 people.
And they'll probably overflow.
I would say it will be overflowing, and they will televise it so we can all watch it. But that's just the beginning of what we're going to do for goodness and for God and for the memory of Charlie Kirk. And it's not that we're doing anything because we don't like somebody. It's like, I don't know how to explain to people that right's right and wrong's wrong. You can't beat people up and convince them to change their mind. You can't do that. You can just give them reason. Just give them reasoning. And if they don't see reasoning, then, let them go ahead and make a mistake.
Right.
That's okay. It's okay. But I called you because I knew that, number one, you love history. Number one, you love politics. And number one, you have a child who was very affected by Charlie Kirk's death. Because your child is very close to his age. And she grew up with the same values that he grew up with. She was raised in a Christian home by Christian parents, Christian grandparents. And I could see how she was hurting over this.
Oh, yeah.
How have you consoled her?
We've talked, and I've just let her talk. And, she says it has really impacted her. And I think she just wanted to talk to mom and dad. I just didn't feel the need to really talk back, or not talk back to her, but, converse back with her. Just let her talk. And because Katie doesn't have a problem expressing herself.
Yes, and Katie has worked for the Republican Party in the past, and was one of those young additions of Charlie Kirk.
Yes,
yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And she, several years ago we experienced an attempt to cancel us, and had a little issue back home in Jasper there a few years ago, and Katie was, there was an attempt to impact her and me and Bay and what have you. And, fortunately it didn't work out. I mean, I'm not going to get into all the details of what happened, but she experienced a little bit of what Charlie went through multiple times a day. And being at that same age, so, she knows.
And it was because you stood your ground.
Exactly.
And you were right.
Right, exactly.
And that's what was so, I couldn't believe it.
Exactly.
We're in Pickens County, Georgia, and this is happening.
Right.
Yeah.
But
it's
obviously
crazy.
people involved, most of them weren't from around there. But anyhow, Katie knew that these same type of people that are celebrating Charlie's murder would celebrate her murder, mine and her mother's murder, your murder, and everyone in our family's murder, just because of our.
You stand your ground for God, and for the right,
for our beliefs.
Yeah.
So, and some people are saying, well, and I get it. I'm not trying to. One atrocity is just as bad as the other. All the school shootings and all these kids. I get it. But why is Charlie getting so much more attention? Well, you got to look at facts. Charlie was a public figure, but how many people, as Katie mentioned, how many people are celebrating, dancing in the streets over these kids being murdered, innocently murdered, and Charlie being innocently murdered by having a conversation? And as unfortunate as fate would have it, he was murdered for doing exactly what he wanted to prevent, having a conversation. Once we stop having a conversation, that's when violence happens.
Right. Right.
So how could you get mad at somebody for wanting to have a conversation? And all these people calling him Nazi, fascist, whatever. Number one, I would challenge you. I'll bet you $100 you can't even define what a Nazi is or a fascist is. You're just using rhetoric. Number two, tell me one thing that he said that was fascist, being a Nazi, bigoted, racist, whatever.
Right. Nothing.
Tell me one thing.
Nothing.
He's ever said.
Nothing.
I would buy you a steak dinner if you could show me one thing he
Nothing. I was thinking about this. My cross is always on, but I used to wear a Star of David because my grandparents on my dad's side, Holzendorf. Okay, figure out where Holzendorf came from. Holzendorf is not a Southern Baptist. and so I wore a Star of David for many years. And I got to a point that I said, people are mean to Jewish people. And so I quit wearing a Star of David. I gave in. Because I was in Atlanta. I was afraid. I gave in. And I think that's what I loved about Charlie. He didn't give up. He didn't give in. And he was going to change the world. And I believe he has changed the world.
Well, and I think that's another reason why they're attacking us is that even though we don't have quote-unquote Jewish blood in us, But if you're a believer,
I bet if you
you're
look
a child
back,
of God,
some of you do. Yeah.
But if you're a child of God, if you've been saved, you're Jewish. That inner man or woman is Jewish because you're a child of God. You're a son of you're a son of Christ.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
so and Christ was Jewish.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the inward person is Jewish, but this flesh, this
Southern
diabolical
Baptist
flesh is not.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. Well, we're going to take a commercial break, and then we're going to do a song by Mr. Ellijay, and we're going to have a little bit of da-da-da, some of that rhythm that we love from him. And don't forget, you can pick up his CDs. You got to Chase Me Down. All original music, all written by him, played every instrument on here except one or two little, like a harmonica and one thing. He is one more cool dude, and I know you love his music, so hit me up and pick up a copy of the CD. You know, music sets the tone, and I think today we need a little bit of happiness as we saw Captain Worley going home to his family. Isn't that amazing?
That is. I'm still blown away. That
It is awesome.
he's home now.
He's home. He's home. So we'll be back in just a minute.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time, and delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We can't play about our future or our finances. Make moves, set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up, stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Free game to greater things. This is pre-retirement.
Smoky Mountain memories about my home in Tennessee. Memories keep calling me home.
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
I don't do like I used to anymore. I'm different now from what you knew before. I drive through my hometown in a 50 GMC, and I remember what went down with you and me. There's a pillow lying on wake up to emptiness instead. The good old days of old have come and gone. Guitars, guns, and gold keeps rolling on. Like a freight train in the night, through the fog I see old light and images you won't find on your phone. I don't do much of anything these days. I'm a prisoner of the old familiar ways. I drive through your hometown in a 50 GMC, and I regret all that went down with you and me. I don't seem to care much anymore for things I thought I needed before. I like my old guitar and I love my song. I love you too, but I guess I'll move along.
Okay, we've got good news. New York has lost their mind and they will probably elect a socialist, which means the real estate agents in Florida have been struggling a little bit because the insurance is so high because of hurricane damage. A lot of real estate agents I know are now at Home Depot working because the economy down there hadn't been so great. But we heard tell that when that nut gets elected in New York, that all the people with money will flee to Florida because Ron DeSantis is a great mayor.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a great governor, and we could get him for mayor too. But it is so crazy because New York is the greatest city in the world.
Or
and
used to be.
It used to be, yes, and it has everything that people want to see, from restaurants to shows to da-da-da-da-da. They are destroying it. This is our warning today. Let's keep America amazingly conservative. You have a choice to go to the church of your choice. You can be Jewish, you can be Catholic, you can be Baptist, you can be Presbyterian, you can be Pentecostal from Gadsden, Alabama. You can be whatever you want to be. America is still a free country.
That's right.
And nobody has taken that from us. Even though they took our leader, Charlie Kirk, I swear, I hate to say that his death is going to make the world better, but I swear I believe it will.
Well,
I believe it's waking up a sleeping giant.
The Lord will use this to His plan, and I mean, look at what, like I said, there's over 32,000 chapters of applicants have been sent into Turning Point. And I think there's, 25,000 high schools, so there's more applicants than we have high schools.
Yeah, and until last night, I didn't realize that you can't have a chapter. You have to be high school or college.
I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, high school or college, because I knew some older people who said, we need a chapter, and I said, we're not in high school. we ain't in college either.
Well, why can't we do what the left does? We'll identify as a high schooler.
Right. Okay, yeah. I'll identify as weighing 126 pounds when that happened.
I'll be right there with you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about preserving the past, because your family has been in the Jasper, Georgia area forever. Your family started in the marble mines forever ago. Your child is carrying on the tradition of her forefathers, her grandmothers, her grandfathers, her people who hoed the fields and who canned the goods. And how did y'all instill that? Did she just love your grandparents so much that she just learned all that from them?
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with my grandmother Walker, Mimi Walker. Katie was, she was, I think, 11 when my grandmother passed away. And, talking to her, had a good relationship with her. And then Bay's grandmother died less than 10 years, right at 10 years ago, and she was 102, I believe, when she passed away. And they were raised very similarly. They're in the Marble Hill area, and they farmed and lived off the land and canned and what have you. And it's just a way of life. In order to survive.
Put up for the winter. Yeah, you prepare. Yeah,
exactly.
You don't prepare to get an EBT card
That's
and
right.
to go buy ribeyes to feed your dog.
That's right.
You prepare for yourself.
That's right. And
it's a conservative way of life.
Exactly. And you like you said, you gardened, they hunted, they fished, they raised hogs and chickens and whatever. They didn't have a lot of money, but I remember my mom, talking years ago, she's like, well, we didn't have a lot of money, but we never went hungry. We always had everything we needed. And so Katie, she's always been creative and cooking, and liked to cook ever since she was, just 6, 7 years old. She would work with Bay in the kitchen and what have you, and my mother as well, and Patsy, my mother-in-law. And Patsy has always been a big gardener, good at sewing, and carrying on that tradition. And my mom liked to garden and obviously cook, and so it was just as Bay has said many times. Katie got a double dose between Satterfield and the fields, and she got a double dose, and so I think she got 14 or 15 raised beds, garden beds.
Wow.
She's sewing. She's milling her own grains and making bread, different type of breads and pastries, and her cousin. Are going to different farmers markets and art shows and what have you, selling it and what have you. And
can you smell it when you go in her house if she's baking?
Yeah.
I just, oh my gosh.
And when I tell her, she said, yeah, we're going to, here a couple of weeks ago, she went to Commerce and for some art show or farmers market, whatever. And I met her cousin over there. And I told her, I said, well, if you got anything left over, let me know. I said, Mom and Dad want to buy us some stuff.
Yeah,
and so she brought us 18, freshly milled bagels she made.
Wow.
And they were just
I can't imagine. We got to get her on here one day. That would be awesome.
I told her
yes.
that you wanted to have her on.
Oh gosh, I cannot imagine somebody her age bracket having the ability and having the want to. It's something we've missed.
Well, she's like I said, like as Bay said, she's got a double dose between Satterfield and Fields in her. She's that gene skipped over her mother and obviously me, but she got it from both sides.
It's awesome. So. Now let's talk a little bit about Georgia Marble, because the Marble Festival is coming up. Are they still going to do the tours?
Yes.
Okay. Are y'all still doing tours of the little jail?
Yeah,
in Jasper? Tell us about that.
We have, a few volunteers. I try to remember right. Most Saturdays were open from 11 to 3 there on Main Street. And
if you haven't been there, I have. I got a ticket one Sunday night. I was going too fast. I was going way too fast. And I said, hurry up and write my ticket. Let me do this and let me get that. I had to call my cousin Von Sale over in Dawson County to come and help me get out of there. And her and Marvin pulled up and helped me. But I was like, don't let my mama know this. My mama knew in 10 minutes.
Of course.
Jasper was a small town. My mama knew in 10 minutes.
And there were no cell phones back then.
Oh, no, there were no cell phones, not even pagers back then. But I will never forget it. Trula Cantrell was cooking McEvers weenies for the prisoners. And I was like, that is not what I want for dinner. It was so funny. But that's the coolest jail. I can remember it was painted green downstairs. Is it still painted green?
No, it's when I got involved about 8 or 9 years ago now, it was an off-white color, and the plaster was starting to peel off and all that. So anyhow, we cleaned out the jail and we got it replastered on the inside, and we painted it back to the same color it was when I got involved. And I can vaguely remember years ago it was a green color.
It was a weird green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I guess kind of like that. Was it that what they call in Savannah, that haint green or haint blue?
Pretty much.
It ain't blue, but it ain't green.
Yeah.
But so we have, most Saturdays from I think 11 to 3 we have a volunteer there, and then one Thursday and a couple of Sundays a month we have for a few hours. And it is a neat place because downstairs is the living quarters. The jail was built in 1906. Is the living quarters. You have a bedroom, a living room, office, and a kitchen, and that's where the sheriff or whoever the jailer was back in latter days. That's where they lived.
Yeah.
And when I got involved with the Historical Society several years ago, I had Don and Billy Wofford. They came over to the jail, and that's been a while since they've been there.
They spent a lot of years in that jail.
Yes, they lived there when Billy was first hired in 1971, I believe it was. They lived there about 18 months. And Donna ran the office and cooked the meals, and Billy was chief deputy.
Yeah.
And Donna said, I asked her, I said, did y'all not have some reservations or concerns about, Billie Jean? She was only about a year and a half old then. And said, no, it was, of course, it was a different world back then.
It was a different world.
Totally different world back then.
Yeah.
And
when you say that, it was before we had drug problems.
Oh, absolutely.
It was. I'm trying to think of who might have been arrested there. Probably public drunk,
because it was a dry county back then.
Yeah, or speeding, or or maybe a physical
domestic
fight,
issue,
domestic, But nothing criminal. Isn't that awful? Nothing criminal, but you're in jail. But it's not like it is today.
Well, it was a lot like Mayberry.
Absolutely.
I know a few years ago I was in the jail on a Saturday, and I'm not going to mention his name. You probably know who I'm talking about. But he came in. He said, I hadn't been in this jail in a long time. I said, no, okay, how long has it been? He said, well, I had to spend a few days here.
Yeah,
and, Of course, he's an older gentleman now, but he said that he was the only one there, and Harley Cantrell was our sheriff, and he said he needed a haircut, and he said, Harley, he said, will you let me out, go down to Albert's and get a haircut?
Yes, and he did.
And he did. He said, I'm going to let you out. You go down there and you come straight back.
Right back, and he did.
And he did.
Yeah,
and he let him in, and he said, if I'm not here, you tell Trula to let you back in.
Yep.
And he said, just my luck, 30 minutes later, I'm back in jail because Albert didn't have anybody. I was hoping it would be 2 or 3 ahead of me, but nope.
Yeah. We look back, I remember Champions Cafe.
Oh, yeah.
Great memories there.
Yeah.
I remember that half plate for 95 cents and a whole plate for $1.55, $1.65. I mean, it was crazy. Such happy memories of a place of peace. And I think it is our job to keep it a place of peace, whether it be Ball Ground or Jasper or Talking Rock. We need to maintain our place of peace. And so, if you're interested in finding out more about the Republican Party in any of the counties that we serve, pick up the phone and call somebody. I was reading some stuff. I know that Fannin County has done some crazy wild growth, and millions of dollars are on their tax books. But at the same time, they've lost a piece of their life.
Their heritage.
They've lost a piece of their heritage, and it makes me very sad. I remember when they voted in alcohol on Sundays, and that was a big controversy, and still would be for me, but but is your place of peace, and it is your job to maintain your place of peace, and you do that by voting accordingly. And in a nonpartisan election, it is the hardest thing ever to say, well, that guy's so nice. Okay, he's a nice guy. He's a Democrat. He's a Republican. You vote your conscience.
That, and I believe, going back, you know, I started my working career back in 1990 of being on the road, back when Rush Limbaugh was just getting started. And I firmly believe, I remember a lot of things that Rush said.
Oh, yeah.
And he was right. Rush was right.
He was right. He was right.
You vote for the most conservative person that's on the ballot, period. I don't care if they're independent, Republican, Democrat, what. You vote for the most conservative person on the ballot. And that's
it. I need to wear my Rush shirt. I've got, my bestie bought me a Rush Limbaugh shirt before he died. And it hangs in my closet. I've never worn it. I need to wear that shirt one day. We lost that voice.
Yes.
You know, we lost that voice. Let's don't lose our voice. And our voice can maintain the place of peace where we gather, where we live, where we worship. And we can welcome people in and show them the lifestyle that we are fortunate enough to live.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
I don't blame people wanting to move here into Gilmer, Pickens, Fannin County, Cherokee County. I can't blame them at all. But, you know, again, why are you moving here? I mean, if we were a cesspool, why you wouldn't be moving here?
Right, that's right.
And the reason we have hit, as far as our heritage goes, the reason being is that this is the Bible Belt. We have believed in God, country, family, and in that order. And or God, family, country. You know, it's like number one, then 2A and 2B. I don't know which one which, but that order, and we have embraced that, and we've held that for all these years. And if it was wrong, then why are you moving here? You know, there's a reason why you want to move here.
That's right.
And again, I don't blame you.
Our lifestyle's amazing. It is amazing. It is amazing. Thank you for being here today. Honestly, I know that there's so much going on, and I know you're busy, and the idea that it worked today, it is 1 week since we said goodbye, 1 week. So it's perfect timing. God's timing is always perfect.
That's right.
We don't always understand it, but today, please pray for the Kirk family. And also, there was a horrible wreck yesterday in Ball Ground. Please pray for the families involved in that. A lot of tragedy there. Everybody was, why was the road closed so long? Why was this? Why was that? That was a horrible, horrible accident. So pray for the folks in Ball Ground yesterday. You know, we are a praying nation, and we can change the world, and we can change the things that are good, and we can stop evil from taking over, because he's on his way. Satan is on his way. He is trying to seek and destroy, and we cannot allow that.
He's got a short time.
He's got, yes, yeah. Have you read the Bible? You know the end of the story?
Yeah.
Pick up your Bible today. Pick up your phone. Call a friend. Pray together with them, and pray for our great nation. We'll see you again soon.